you're new here, this is where it started. I still don't know why she chose me. I thought moving away from home would give me peace. But whatever she is, she's followed me here too. When I entered Omiya Elementary, I thought I'd left it behind. But by then, she didn't need to appear anymore. She was in the background, in reflections, in corners of classrooms when no one was looking. My mum thought I was having stress nightmares. She made me join a baseball club. It helped, for a while, but things got worse again after our spring school trip to Hikawa Shrine. It's supposed to be a holy place, centuries old, peaceful and safe. But that day, when everyone was praying at the Hondan, I looked up, and she was kneeling beside me, head low, hands folded, whispering. No one saw her, no one heard her, but I did. She whispered one sentence in my ear. I still hear it sometimes when I sleep. You brought me here. After that day, photos of me started coming out wrong. Blurry face, faint silhouettes behind me. Once, my teacher pulled me aside and asked if I was okay because you look drained. I wasn't sleeping. I was hearing knocking under my bed at exactly 2:11 a.m. every night. 3 slow knocks, then nothing. By the time I reached Urawa High School, I didn't talk about it anymore. What's the point? People either thought I was joking or mentally ill. So I wore a mask, pretended to be the quiet, artsy type. I was taller, quieter, obsessed with headphones and sketching dark fantasy monsters in my notebooks. I met a girl named Aoi in year 2. She liked horror films and hated crowds, sat behind me in literature class. We started texting late at night. I thought maybe... Finally, I was normal. We skipped school once to visit Enoshima. We laughed. She held my hand when we crossed the bridge. She told me she wanted to live by the sea. For 2 weeks after that, nothing weird happened. No dreams, no water, no voices. It was the happiest I've ever been. Then I saw the photo we took on the beach. Aoi is smiling, me squinting into the sun. And behind us, in the shadow of the lighthouse, she was there, not standing, crawling, arms bent backwards, eyes blacked out. I deleted the photo. My phone bricked the next day. Aoi said I changed. She couldn't explain it. She stopped replying. I don't blame her. Kenji, my best friend since elementary, also stopped talking to me around then. He said I looked haunted. He was right. He was the only one who believed me. We used to hang out after cram school, walk through Omiya Park, and talk about horror games, girls, and the future. He said he saw something once, a pale woman standing behind me while we were walking under the sakura trees at night. We stopped hanging out after that. No argument, just distance. I think it followed him home. He dropped out a few months later, wouldn't answer my messages. My mum said he moved in with family up north. But I've looked, there's no record of him anywhere. No one knew that I refused to use mirrors at school, because sometimes my reflection didn't blink when I did. I'm 20 now. I still live alone in Saitama, not far from Shintoshin Station, in a small 1 BHK apartment. My mum thinks I'm mentally unstable. She said I need help, not protection. She believes I made all this up in my head. And I honestly wish that were true. Things have been a bit calmer lately. I haven't seen her directly in a while. The last time was about 2 or 3 months ago. I'd just come out of the shower late at night. The mirror had fogged up, and for a second, I swear I saw her outline behind me. I blinked, and it was gone. But I didn't sleep that night. Even now, I still feel her sometimes. It's hard to explain, but it's like the air in my room remembers her. I'll feel sudden chills or the pressure of eyes on me when I know no one's there. I try to live normally. I cook. I walk to the station. And I even show up to school sometimes, even though I've been skipping a lot lately. But the fear never completely left. It's just gotten quieter, like she's waiting. Hey guys, now to the present. Today's Sunday, June 15th. I didn't have classes, but I woke up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. My eyes were dry, my head heavy, like something had pressed on me all night. I remember the dream clearly, too clearly. I was back in my old play school, the one near Omiya where it all began. Except it was wrong. The colours were faded, the walls stretched longer than they should have, and all the windows were pitch black. There were no children, no teachers, just me. And that sound. A soft, wet dragging across the floor. I ran toward the exit, but no matter how fast I moved, the hallway wouldn't end. Then I heard a whisper, right next to my ear. "You left me here." I turned and saw her, small, just like she was back then. But her eyes, they were empty. Not blank, empty. Like two small holes into something far deeper than darkness. I woke up gasping. My bedsheet was tangled, and my window was slightly open. I swear I remember closing it before sleeping. Maybe I forgot. Maybe not. I don't know if I'm just tired, or if she's getting closer again. In March this year, I adopted a stray cat near my house because there has been a history of cat abuse, and I loved her too much. And a spate of cases happened after I adopted her, so thank goodness for that. Now, for context, my family has a history with ghosts and spiritual beings. We moved a lot when I was younger, and a lot of the places we moved into were haunted in some way, shape, or form, so I'm no stranger to these things. I myself can sometimes sense their presence and sometimes their emotions, whether they're malevolent or just curious. Before adopting this stray, I'd hang out with her downstairs in my house. Sometimes I'd glimpse shadows of a figure moving around the playground where she likes to hang out too, especially during the night. Shortly after adopting my cat, I had a dream that there was another cat with her that I'd thought was my cat, but then I realized that this second one was a boy. I woke up surprised, but brushed it off as my desire for another cat manifesting as nonsensical dreams. However, over the past 2 months or so, I've actually started noticing signs of another cat. I'd hear sounds that my cat would make, such as licking sounds or her scratching her body with her feet. But when I look around, my cat is on the other side of the room. It's gotten more obvious recently. I'd feel the sensation of my cat brushing past my legs when I'm sitting at my table, which she does a lot when she wants a little love. But same thing. I'd reach down to pet her only to feel thin air. Then when I look around, I see she's actually lounging on my bed. Sometimes when I'm drifting in and out of sleep, I'd feel the weight of a cat jump up onto the bed with me, especially if I'd just woken up. My cat does this a lot too. She loves to nestle against my body when I'm on my bed. But recently, I've been looking up only to see she's in fact not on my bed. Just this morning, I woke up to feel the weight of paws behind me jumping onto my bed and padding its way over to my upper back. I lifted my hand to pet her only to be met with thin air, and when I looked, she wasn't there. I turned around again and thought I was imagining things, but I felt it again. It padded its way up and down the length of my body, even paused at my feet before coming back up to settle behind my back. I definitely wasn't imagining it this time, because with my body turned to the side, I could actually hear the creak of my mattress springs as the weight came down. Did I accidentally adopt a ghost cat? When I was 19, I moved in with a friend and his parents in a house far out in the country. My dad couldn't pay his bills, and I had to leave because I couldn't support him anymore. Little did I know that this house was haunted ASF. I should have thought so, as it was built next to a small graveyard from the 1800s. I believe it to be some poltergeist business, like the house was built over some of the long-forgotten graves. This is just one experience I had in this house, but it was one of the creepiest, and the first time I ever actually saw something paranormal. I've felt things and seen things moving on their own, etc., but I had never actually seen an entity until this point in my life. I digress. One night my friend and I were doing our typical thing. I believe we were hanging out and watching Big Brother. He had a sister a couple of years younger than us. To keep anonymity, We'll call her T. I had nightmares all the time. Really bad. Her parents' room was downstairs, while we all occupied the upstairs area. I got hungry and went down to make a sandwich around 11 p.m. As I was walking down the stairs, I saw a shadow in the hallway. I figured T had another nightmare and was going to sleep with her parents, which was a pretty normal occurrence. I noticed, though, that the shadow wasn't moving. It was just kind of standing there. So, I called out, "T." It's very important to note that the parents were sleeping and had zero reason to come out of their room. Bathroom, mini fridge, no reason. This thing shook its head no and ran down the hallway. I thought nothing of it. I figured she was just upset and didn't want to talk and had gone to her parents' room. I proceeded to make my sandwich and go back upstairs. A couple of hours later, I told my friend I had seen his sister standing in the hallway downstairs, and I thought she had another nightmare, and I was worried about her. He then eerily said, "I'm staying the night at a friend's house tonight." That wasn't her. I've seen it too. I didn't sleep very well that night, and even though I had my own room, my friend and I slept in his room together. I'll never forget this thing. It literally said no. I'm not T, and I ran away. I can see it so vividly still in my mind's eye, this many years later. Ko is a food delivery driver in Thailand, usually working during the day. But with his evening side hustle not making ends meet, he turned to night deliveries for more stable income. Unfortunately, he had no experience working after dark, so he sought advice from veteran riders. An older rider named Pa Sak warned him about one order to be wary of, a delivery that always came in around 8 to 9 p.m. to a house at the very end of 18th Street. Pa Sak was adamant. If Ko ever received that order, he must never go alone. Strange instructions would come through the app, and Ko was to follow them without question. The warning unsettled him, but Pa Sak lightened the mood, adding that the tip was unusually high. Ko resumed work, both day and night, until one night, right on cue, the 18th Street order arrived. It was for fish porridge. Remembering the warning, Ko called a friend to go with him. As they neared the drop-off, Ko passed a large, eerie Chinese cemetery, then entered a gated, secluded area. A single isolated house loomed ahead. Just then, ding, a message popped up with specific steps. Hang the porridge bag on the front gate. Light an incense stick found near the gate. Stick the lit incense into the food bag. For context, in Thailand, incense is used for prayer. The number of sticks depends on whom you're praying to. One stick is often used to connect with the dead, wandering spirits or deceased loved ones. Fear gripped Ko, but he followed the instructions, desperate to finish quickly. As he raised the incense to stick it into the porridge, his friend suddenly turned pale and bolted on his bike. "Hey, wait!" Ko shouted in confusion, but he instinctively jabbed the incense into the food and sprinted after his friend, not wanting to be left alone in the dark. As he caught up, Ko glanced back. Just then, from the shadows of the gate, a shriveled, elderly hand reached out, grabbed the porridge bag, and vanished. He kicked his bike into motion and tore away in terror, heart pounding. Trying to stay sane, Ko told himself someone must live there. Later, he asked Pa Sak about it. The old rider simply said, "No one ever looks back." Still rattled, Ko returned to the location in daylight. The porridge was gone, but the yard was scattered with many unopened food bags. Chilled, Ko learned the truth. A grandma had once lived there. After her death, her daughter kept ordering food as offerings. The spirit consumed the essence, leaving the food untouched. After that night, Ko gave up night deliveries for good. Whatever haunted 18th Street, he was done with it. Forever. I often wonder why children seem to possess the ability to see ghosts. I, too, had a ghostly encounter when I was younger. Fortunately, that sensitivity has since faded. I must have been about 10 years old when my family and I went to do a major cleanup at my mum's house. It was due to be rented out soon, and it had been vacant for quite some time. It's a pretty old house, probably around 10 years. Before we even began, my aunt, who was also there to help, started throwing handfuls of rock salt all over the house. My mum sternly told me to stay quiet, but my curious mouth itched. I couldn't help but ask loudly, "What is Auntie throwing?" My mum just glared at me, maintaining her silence, and that was enough to shut me up. Our family is of Chinese descent, and we are a pretty superstitious bunch. My aunt continued her ritual, scattering salt from the first floor, in the living room, in the kitchen, and in the storeroom, then moving upstairs to each of the bedrooms, even the bathrooms and the balcony. And guess who was designated to clean up all that salt? Me, the only free labor available. So, broom in hand, I started sweeping up the salt. I worked my way up from the first floor, and as I reached the middle of the stairs connecting to the second floor, I felt something watching me. When I turned, I saw it. A tall, shadowy figure stood by at the doorway of the middle bedroom. Upstairs, there were 3 bedrooms, the master on the left, another on the right, and the one I saw was the middle one. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to walk up to the second floor. I'm still puzzled as to why I decided to go up. Why did I walk straight into that bedroom? Perhaps it was bravery, but more likely, it was just stupidity. Toti. When I stepped into the room, I found nothing, just a space filled with stagnant air, thick with enough dust to make anyone sneeze. The windows were tightly shut, offering no ventilation whatsoever. There was only a double-decker bed, and dust particles danced lazily in the air, illuminated by the afternoon sun streaming through the window. Then I decided to leave, but the moment I turned around, a loud bang hammered through my ears. Shocked, I saw the door shut itself with force. Mind you, there was no wind, nobody else lived in this house, and I was completely alone on that floor. At that moment, my heart pounded so heavily it felt like it would burst from my chest. Most people might instinctively open the door and run, but I wasn't in the right state of mind to even think. I just froze, standing like a statue for a good few minutes. Then, slowly, I reached out to open the door. But I couldn't open the damn door. Trapped, I started to panic, shaking the knob crazily. This might sound funny in hindsight, but the reason I couldn't open it was probably because I was pushing in the wrong direction. I was supposed to pull the freaking door. Yet that doesn't explain why the heavy, old wooden door, which was quite heavy and not prone to self-closing, slammed shut on its own in the absence of any wind. Once I finally managed to open it, I leaped down the stairs in what felt like 3 hops, rushing straight to my mum. Luckily, I didn't pee myself or anything, but I was so scared. I never told my family, and those who rented the house after the incident were fine. To this day, I still don't know what I saw there. Maybe it was real, or perhaps it was just a child's overactive imagination. But as I grew up, I hardly ever encountered any strange entities again. Around 1 or 2 more times, and luckily that's it. I'll share it sometime later. Does anyone know what the true function of the salt is? I was so traumatized that I never even asked my mum or my aunt, but I'm still curious to this day. Online, some say it's to cleanse the area, while other sources claim it's to attract luck and fortune. This story is 100% true, no matter how unbelievable it sounds. This was posted a while ago, but I thought I'd add my story on here. I had a very strange childhood, but one thing I'll never forget was my best friend George. He was an older man with black greying hair and blue eyes. George was a ghost who I first encountered when I was 4 in the first week of moving into our new house. Of course, at first I was terrified, but George would always have a huge smile on his face and put his hand on mine. He would always comfort me while my parents were arguing. Just one look at his huge smile made me feel okay anytime I was sad. George was never far behind, always comforting me till I fell asleep. No one else has ever believed me about George, and that's fine. I understand it's hard to believe that my childhood friend was a ghost, but George to me wasn't a ghost. He was my best friend. We had to move house, and I was upset because I wouldn't see George again. But he gave me one last reminder of what a great man he was, placing his hand on mine and telling me everything will be okay. Whoever moved into that house has a great guardian with them. Love you, George.